Today, we are going to witness the international webinar on role of physical education to provide psychosocial support for management of post-pandemic crisis in teaching learning process. To us, it is a rare opportunity to hear such type of speakers.
Okay, start now.
Today, we have gathered in this virtual platform Zoom to witness the international webinar on role of physical education to provide psychosocial support for management of post-pandemic crisis in teaching learning process.
Excuse me.
Now, I would like to request Dr. Bodhisattva Pradhan to introduce the webinar. Dr. Pradhan, please.
Thank you, sir. Very good afternoon to all. Ladies and gentlemen, now I am going to say something about our webinar. It is my pleasure that today, the 8th of January 2021, our Department of Physical Education is going to organize the international webinar is role of physical education and psychosocial support for post-pandemic crisis in teaching and learning. In the past, our department had organized 4 national and 1 international seminar and 1 webinar consecutively. But today's event is very special in respect of our physical presence, where we can refresh a lot by meeting each other. During 40s decade of 20th century, the renowned educationist of the world realized that the classroom education is not sufficient. The overall development of the child because of the lack of psychomotor development in total personality development. Hence, they accepted physical education as a curricular subject in education system, but due to COVID-19 pandemic condition, the instructions in physical education is stopped for maintaining the pandemic protocols. As it is, the education through physical activities now, where the body contact is inevitable. Since the last century, science and technology has grown rapidly, so the lifespan of the individuals has increased. But the longevity is mainly medicine-based. The quality of life is not because of the rapid practice of the consortium habit in third world country like India. To provide better opportunity by the means of scientific and technical knowledge, physical education has a prime role to cope up with post-pandemic crisis in teaching learning. This webinar definitely throw some light to us. There are 4 numbers of eminent speakers. Among them, 3 from our subject, that is physical education, 1 from the sociology. Already they from the field of physical education and sociology. The physical education have already arrived in our virtual platform. They will discuss many aspects of physical education in the light of fitness, health and well-being in present day, and how to cope up with the post-pandemic circumstances. I do hope that this sort of interaction and exchange of news and views in this webinar will greatly enrich the participants of this platform, as well as this will be helpful to equip the people of the surrounding locality with proper implementation of do's and don'ts. Keep safe from COVID-19 by maintaining physical and psychosocial demands. The webinar will several extent increase the mental horizons of the recipients by news, truths and informations, because of knowledge is a propagating process which needs continuous updating by way of mutual discussions and deliberations. I hope we will be benefited a lot from this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pradhan, for introducing the seminar very nicely. All participants are requested to mute their microphone, please. All participants are requested to mute their. Asha Deshmukh, please, you are requested to. Oh, thank you. Now, I would like to request our Honorable Principal, Dr. Sapan Kumar Misro, to formal welcome to the speaker as well as to the audience. Sir, please.
স্যার স্যার মিউট হয়ে গেছেন, স্যার মিউট হয়ে গেছেন, আনমিউট করুন স্যার।
স্যার আনমিউট করুন।
হঠাৎ করে হয়ে গেল, ঠিক আছে।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, ঠিক আছে।
Good afternoon, everyone. We are grateful that we have four eminent personality in this webinar. Respected Professor Sudarshan Bhaumik, former Professor of Physical Education, Kollam University. Respected Professor Sanjeev Mirdha, Department of Physical Education, Jadavpur University. Respected Dr. Argha Shukul, Assistant Professor, Department of Sociology, NCMM Government College, Paschim Medinipur. Respected Professor Bharati Ramagutti, lecturer in Mauritius Institute of Education, Mauritius, in the Department of Physical Education. Dr. Devasis Roy, convener of this webinar and Associate Professor of Physical Education of the college. All faculty members of the college, non-teaching staff, researchers, students, and audience. Now it is my great opportunity to welcome all of you in this international webinar on role of physical education to provide physiological support for management of post-pandemic in teaching and learning process. We all are known that presently the world is suffering from a pandemic from COVID-19. Every sector of human life is adversely affected by this disease. People of all age groups, even who are not infected by this virus, are also facing mental and physical problems. With the increase of unprecedented unemployment, stress, anxiety, depression, and other mental health issue arises. Lack of involvement in work makes life monotonous, which result depression. The situation of child and older persons is also the same. The children cannot play any outdoor games. The older people cannot go morning walk or socializing with their neighbors and friends. The young generations is having a hard time because of disruption of education and training, unemployment, problems and problems of cultural exchange and income losses. It has led teachers and students to unpredictable scenario where the lockdown situation has accelerated the shift from the traditional to online education methods and relationship by the lockdown with respect to their mental health, their relationship in three main fields: work, family, and social relationship. Physical activity seemed to be a factor that could prevent mental disorder such as anxiety or depression in this peculiar situation. Everyone must keep his or her body fit by working out, exercising, participating yoga and pranayam while staying inside the house, maintaining social distancing. It is my great pleasure that in this situation, the Physical Education Department of the college has organized these types of seminars to prevent mental disorder such as anxiety or depression in this peculiar situation and maintain healthy lifestyle. Here the eminent persons as already present in this webinar. This will they will discuss many aspects about this. We will hear more from these details in details. I hope that these sorts of interaction and exchange of news and views in this seminar will greatly enrich teachers and students, as well as this will be helpful to equip the people with proper implementations. Last but not the least, I express my profound respects and best wishes to all respected guests and speakers for taking interest in this matter and giving us their valuable time. Thank you. Thank all of you.
Now I am extending my sincere thanks to Dr. Swapan Kumar Mishra, our honorable principal, who already welcomed all the speakers as well as delegates and our members of the staff in teaching and non-teaching section. Thank you very much, sir. Now I would like to request our young speaker, Dr. Arghos Shukul, presently. Some other persons, please mute.
Am I right?
Binary theory, please mute. Dr. Shukul presently posted as head of the department.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Sir, please.
Yes.
Presently, Dr. Shukul posted as HOD and assistant professor in Nayagram PRM Memorial Government College, Jhargram, West Bengal.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Okay. Actually, thank you all, and thank you to the organizer to provide me this opportunity to speak. And I am also eagerly waiting for the esteemed speaker, Bhumik sir and others, to listen. And first, I beg pardon to all that the device camera is not working properly, so I cannot display the video or share anything from my screen. So I will speak. Please listen. My topic is education, COVID-19 and post-pandemic. I would like to discuss a very lucid understanding regarding. I am not a physical education practitioner. I am a social science student or a sociology student. So for this reason, actually I am just presenting my topic. The extent of pandemic COVID-19 has drastically disrupted every aspect of human life, including education. It has created an unprecedented hindrance on education in every level, in all educational institutions throughout the globe. This pandemic situation has its impact. Classroom teaching has been suspended. We are forced to go online. Lower and higher educational institutions have tried to act positively in this situation. However, in India, approximately 32 crore students are compelled to stop their normal educational activities. As a student of social science, I suppose that areas of social life are interlinked. Education is not exception. Among various subjects, physical education is different from other counterparts. Classroom teaching and on-field activities involved in physical education learning make it more relevant for the learner to connect themselves with society. Swami Vivekananda truly said, the world is the great gymnasium where we can make ourselves strong. He also advised people play football rather than read the Bhagavad Gita. It is true to highlight that physical education as educational and training discipline has much to do for the learner to make them socially and morally, rather I can say psychologically, adjust with the COVID and post-COVID pandemic situation. Here, I would like to point out few aspects of education in general in COVID and post-COVID situation. I shall also try to highlight the role of physical education to cope with the situation as a person outside of physical education learning environment, but I can understand the requirement. Regarding education, in this presentation, I will focus on the few aspects. First one, the impact of COVID-19 on education sector, various emerging approaches for cope with this issue, and post-COVID trend. What will be that? Now, just I am pointing out few things about impact of higher COVID-19 situation in education. Some classification. It destabilizes all educational activities. Hindrances on academic and professional research activities. Effect on, and I rather say bad effect on, social relationships and mental health, and severely affected the educational assessment system. This is very important for us who are teaching and obviously for the students. And it also reduces employment opportunities. There is another thing, that the increased digital gap brings difference between privileged and underprivileged students. And for coping with this, emerging approaches are introduced, like interactive websites, social media, direct-to-home TV channels, and other, even in our country, in government-sponsored websites are helping the students, or digital platforms are helping the students to cope with the situation and to learn. But what will be the in post-COVID trend? The first one is the continuation of social and physical distancing may remain, and maintenance of health and hygiene is very much required in post-COVID situation. And it will encourage personal learning. Other thing is that student attendance may slow down. Another very important thing is that, as it is an international seminar, very important point is that reduce international and national student mobility. And another one, educational institution may run with different shifts. I don't know whether it is possible or not, but the major concern in socioeconomic backward society like us, the increase of gap between privileged and underprivileged students may continue. This is very alarming. Another concern is the continuation of mental depression due to a particular type of pandemic lifestyle. New form of assessment system must be set. Open learning may be on demand, and future, actually, this situation shows us that the future is the blended learning, online, offline, blended learning. But the real concern is that opportunities of new employment, whether it will be increased or it will be stagnant. Now, let us go to the another part of the discussion. It is about important role of physical education to cope with this situation, socially and psychologically. Mostly, physical education learning is mainly based on practical engagement. Then, it is a question from a outsider of physical education learning person, as a outsider. Is distance or online learning is distance or online learning feature of physical education? Is it possible? How much it is possible? Actually, physical education learning is much more than the physical activity like other sports. Theoretically and practically, this discipline does a great job for making the student physically and mentally active in this time of crisis. Alan Ruston truly points out that hidden curriculum is something we refer to when asked about the non-physical benefits of physical education. I am eagerly waiting to know from other speakers about this. Character values such as grit and resilience are often part and parcel of good physical education curriculum. Angela Duckworth, in her book, Grit, the Power of Passion and Perseverance, summarized years of research finding grit to be stronger predictor of high achievement than intelligence, talent, and other personality traits. Grit is often developed in physical education when students are challenged out of their comfort zone and they have to find something inside to get them through the situation. Physical, physical education courses can have a huge impact outside physical fitness. Physical education should speak to the whole child through it. The learner develop mental and behavioral proficiency like self-respect and respect for others. That is very much needed. Standard learning outcomes from physical education courses emphasize that physical activity should develop a person's value for health, challenge, self-expression, and social interaction. I am not a physical education practitioner. As a social being and student of sociology, I like to mention few aspects that physical education learning can provide for the betterment of social life in this pandemic situation. A human is a social being. So, in pandemic situation, it is sorry, excuse me, it is inevitable that socioeconomic and psychological pressure making people distressed and unwell. Social relationships are losing their time. In this situation, it is better to know coping methods. Here, physical education can play a positive role. The practice of regular physical exercises, which may minimize the emergence of problems that directly affect people's behavior, could be encouraged. During social isolation in the pandemic period, in this sense, physical education learning can provide guidance to us. Among the strategies used to practice physical exercise in social isolation, classes and orientation stand out remotely. This practice should be part of people's routine. It is emphasized that several studies have been proving that moderate intensity physical exercise is effective to increase the immune system through a reduction in inflammation processes and changes in cell concentration, thus modulating positively of the immune system. Although technology is part of several people's lives, however, all of us, basically the people from the third world or developing countries, all of us are not very much aware of using technology or we are not savvy of technology. It is important to consider the differences among individuals, mainly the elderly and the underprivileged section of society. However, these are the problems, hindrances. However, my suggestion is that the remote physical education learning must be incorporated strictly in lower and higher education curriculum. Physical education should be helped to expand its activities for betterment of society in pandemic situation. This is about my view. This is my view about the physical education and uses. Now, from and the time is up, and then I just conclude. In case of general education, the part of my discussion also that in case of general education scenario, this pandemic situation creates a challenging opportunity for change in pedagogical approach and introduction of virtual education in all levels of education. The future of new normal world is not known to us. Prediction cannot be done on the basis of the present situation appropriately. So, post-COVID education system seems to be an education with widely accepted online virtual education, which may perhaps be a parallel system of education, which I have already emphasize on the blended learning. The future may be the blended learning, and we should incorporate us with this system. No more from me today. I'm eagerly waiting for the esteemed teacher and will learn something. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shukul. Dr. Shukul has already narrated very nicely the role of physical education, and to some extent, he explained the role of total education process also. And during this pandemic situation, how the government taken action for the purpose of meeting the demand of the students through virtual platform. Thank you, Dr. Shukul. On behalf of everybody present here, I am extending thanks to Dr. Shukul. Now, I would like to request Professor Sanjeev Mridha. Professor Sanjeev Mridha, Professor, Department of Physical Education, Jadavpur University. He has nothing to introduce because being a young chap, I consider him as my brother, but the learning aspects as well as the serving in physical education, he plays a greater role. And not only in physical education, he has also studied psychology in master degree level, and he completed his undergraduate to PhD from University of Kollani. After that, he served in Kollani University for a long time, then came to Jadavpur University. Just before some days, he transferred the soldering, the duty of head of the department to Dr. Ashish Pal. And Dr. Mridha so many times visited our institution for the purpose of delivering talks or special lecture in different national and international seminars. And today we are proud enough to witness his deliberation on Life Starts at 40, revitalizing the thought after the 2019 pandemic. Professor Mridha will talk on this topic. Now, again, I would like to request Professor Sanjeev Mridha to deliver his talk. Professor Mridha, please.
Thank you, Dr. Debashish Rai. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, yes, please.
Thank you. I thank Mugberia College, all the organizers, right from the principal, Dr. Misro, and all the staff members, teaching and teaching aided staff members, governing body members of the Mugberia Gangadhar Mahavidyalaya for giving me the opportunity to share my views and talk on today's international webinar, and a series of seminars used to organize this excellent institution. So without wasting any time, I thank I also welcome, and I also, ladies and gentlemen who are listening to my lecture during this pandemic situation, online lecture mode. I wish you everyone my best regards and wishes. So without much delaying any time, I am going to my presentation. So is it visible to everyone?
Yes, yes. Yes.
Life starts at 40, revisiting the thought after the 2019 pandemic. We learned it from the society that life starts at 40. This is a debatable question. At the contemporary times, right from the very few years back, not much more, it is said that life starts at 60. So I am focusing on that concept, life starts at 40. We have learned it from our earlier generations and our teachers. I am focusing on this particular topic, that life starts at 40, revisiting the thought after the 2019 pandemic. So why this topic? Because in our life, we proceed after taking birth gradually as a natural phenomenon, year by year, day by day, minute by minute, towards the end, where whenever there is a start, there must have an end in life. This is the reality. So always we think to live, but the irony and the reality is that we have to stop at a certain point. We do not know what that point is. So in that respect, this topic has been selected, that how we can lead our life. So how the topic to be presented, there are three aspects related to individual self. Each and every individual, we gain knowledge. We are having different 5 sense organs and other sense organs inside our body, through which we perceive the external world, internal world, and we perceive through our sensory organs, through brain and other organs, vital organs of the body, and we experience that learning phenomenon in the real world. And at every time, individual being must have desire. Majority of the individuals are not less than up to the maximum level that people have desire for living. So these three things are very, very vital at any given point of time. And these three triad, it is the process of self-development of each and every individual. So whenever a child borns, it is asocial. So in the process of growth, socialization takes place, and with knowledge, experience, and the desire of an individual interacting with the society and the broader environment, people, individual grows. So what are the needs of our life? Let us see what are the needs. The needs of, we know that Abraham Maslow, psychologist, classified human needs like that. The need hierarchy are there, right from the very physiological or the very life sustaining need, is breathing, food, water, sex, procreation, homeostasis, excretion. These are our physiological needs. Safety need, whenever physiological need is there, thereafter safety need, then love and belonging need, friendship, family, etc. Esteem, this is very important. That self-confidence, self-esteem, achievement, respect of others, respect by others. And at the top of the pyramid, that is the self-actualization need, which having the characteristics of morality, creativity, spontaneity, problem-solving, lack of prejudice, acceptance of facts. So these are the needs defined by the social scientists and psychologists after their experiment over the years. So we know that in the West, there are 2 entities, but from Indian point of view, we are having the 5 entities, 5-layer human existence. And this 5-layer human existence, it is made up of the physical frame, body, the breath regulation, taking oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide as a process of metabolism, and mental faculty of an individual, that is the mind, intellect, thinking, reasoning, problem solving, all these ability people have, individuals have, human beings possesses that intellect, that is conscience of an individual, and the bliss layer of ananda, that is called ananda, bliss layer of human existence. So bringing harmonious relationship among these 5 layers of human existence is called harmony, and living better at any given point of time, whether it is pandemic or any normal situation. So these are the preconditions or basic conditions for harmonious relationship, bringing in the 5 layers of human existence. So these are the one of the sources of knowledge. This is conventional source of knowledge through books, through different media, through different communication channel, we get knowledge. But many times our knowledge, it is not right knowledge, because the source, it is not due to the source, but due to the content of knowledge is very important, whether it is, and whether this knowledge is pure form of knowledge or having some kind of prejudice or some kind of personal involvement, personalized sharing of different thoughts, etc., creates a huge distortion in getting pure form of knowledge or corrected form of knowledge. So from life starts at 40. Why it is called? Because from birth to up to 20, it is essentially gathering knowledge from different sources, from the environments, from the society, from knowing oneself and interacting with developing friends. So first 20 years of life really gathering knowledge, and the second 20 years of life, it is essentially putting that knowledge into action, and applied knowledge provides experience of an individual. That is a very important thing. That's why a person with knowledge over the 20 years he is carrying, and even after that, it is not like that after 20 years there is not necessity or there is the process of knowledge accumulation stops. But knowledge accumulation, it carries throughout the life, but majorly up to 20 years of life, whatever knowledge we gain, we put use of that knowledge. It is not like that at the 20 years of age it is started. It is started earlier. There is no clear-cut transition. There is an overlapping zone, like a day and the night. It is an overlapping zone of darkness and broad daylight, light of the sun. So gradually the darkness evades and the lights of the sun, whenever lights of the sun shines, the darkness goes away. Likewise, whenever knowledge is gradually accumulating up to 20 years, and gradually the person applying that knowledge into practical situation, in life situation, and the experience is gathered. And a person from 40 onward, he or she is equipped with knowledge and experience. That's why it is called life starts at 40. Not like that life is not started before earlier than the 40 years of life, but the person with sufficient amount of knowledge regarding the society, regarding the individual, regarding the customs, regarding the tradition, and whatever knowledge one has gathered during his lifetime up to the during the growing age, whenever he or she, an individual, is putting into action, putting in real situation, real life situation, that knowledge transforms into experience of an individual. And the person with knowledge and experience lives like a person as if life starts at 40. So these are the sources of knowledge. Knowledge is essentially an important thing in the triad. Now, how can we get experience? It can give experience and knowledge also. Whenever we have seen this kind of nostalgic monuments of the Greece, so knowledge as well as experience, it happens together. And the Vatican City, so these pictures actually showing an individual's exposure to see the world, to see the environment, larger environment, and coming out from one's small area of small boundary of one's existence, of the social existence. The another one is, this is another a very full moon day, particularly whenever the Eiffel Tower is lighted. It is a very rare occasion. This is the Barcelona. So this is the picture. These visiting places actually, what happens whenever we inculcating knowledge is a tedious process, and sometimes it creates monotony among the students, among the learners, I should say the learners. So whenever we visit this kind of places, we think that how much effort I had, effort I had paid to see this kind of monuments, this kind of historical places. So this is another very good place, that is Louvre Museum, the world famous Louvre Museum, where the picture of Mona Lisa, you see the gathering before capturing the their passion regarding capturing the picture of Mona Lisa in that Louvre Museum, preserved in the Louvre Museum. So it is captured. So all these things, experience in the form of experience, we can get from the society. So visiting many places. So this is again meeting with learned friends across the world. The person is from Bruges University, Belgium. He is the chancellor of National Institute of Sports, Roma. The emeritus professor of Munster University in the middle, and other professors in Munster University. So interacting, Professor Wasson, renowned historian, Olympic historian, head Olympic Study Center, Lausanne, Maria Bogner from Germany. So these are the persons with whom, through interaction, we can learn huge things, and their experience we can get, or they can transform their experience, or we can transform our experience between us. So visiting places not only abroad, but in our countryside also, it can create, and it can use the creative thoughts in our mind. So this is a beautiful chapter. Carrying the passage country board, last 40 years, the person is carrying in a country board. Probably within 2, 3, 5, or 10 years, it will be, this picture will not be seen. The mechanized or motorized board will replace this flying from one side to another side of a small river. This is another place. It is very, we have learned that, and we came to know that there are beauty in Wordsworth poem, but the beauty, it can be seen anywhere in the world. We have also seen Dekhite Giyachi Sindhu in Rabindranath's poem also, and this is in Bengal's beauty. So not only the outside, I should not focus on the outside, or one should not focus on the outside in interacting with the nature, interacting with the learned fellows, learned persons. They, across the world, they are scattered. So our responsibility within the 40, it is possible, if it is possible, to make that garland of knowledge, so that the individual can be more effective after 40. So whenever a person going through this kind of experience and gathering knowledge, so what next? What next can be happened? So this is again, this is a board in a university. It is a very Napoleon Bonaparte's quotation is there. The world suffers a lot not because of the violence of bad people, but because of silence of good people. This is a very remarkable quotation. The world suffers a lot not because of the violence of bad people, but because of silence of good people. Many times we are the victim of violence at different levels, at individual level, social level, or unknowingly we are the creator of violence to our the persons around us. So it may be silently transformed from one person to another person, from the higher ups to the lower ups persons, from the strong man to the weak man. From the authoritative person, from the authority to the persons who need the service of the authority. So the world suffers a lot not because of the violence of bad people, but because of the silence of good people. And this violent, who are the victim of violence, they suffer a lot, whatever may be the age. And it creates a scar, heavy scar in their mind. So the persons cannot weep off this kind of scar with any kind of medicine. So no medicine can become as a solace for removing the scar, what is happening from the violence, knowingly or unknowingly, from the person, from the organization, from the state, from the group of people, from any kind of organization. So let us see, after after 2019 pandemic, what can we do? The health model, essentially, it is the holistic model. Hippocrates, during the 460, 370 BC, used to believe, the Greeks used to believe that mind, body are unified one. So unified one. But in the 16th century, the dualistic model came into existence, and the proponent of dualism was René Descartes, and explanation of the dualistic model as like that mind and body are two separate entities, and body is extended substance and mind unexpanded substance. So here the biomedical model actually raised from the Galen's germ theory of disease in the 2nd century after Christ era. So there is a pathogen essentially, or which is responsible for any kind of disease. So pandemic is also a cause of any kind of pathogen. So it is a pathogen induced disorder and disease which people are succumb to many form of illness and even death by large or huge in numbers. So the biomedical model was emerged on the basis of germ theory of disease by Galen. But the next model, it was the biopsychosocial model. Psychiatrist George Engel in 1977, the proponent of biopsychosocial model. Huge integrating relationship between the three domains of an individual's existence, that is biomedical, psychological, and structural, social, and cultural. This intermingling relationship, it is in a very simplistic manner, it is presented like this: the biological, it is the physical health, disability, genetic vulnerabilities, And on the other side, psychological, that is self-esteem, coping skills, social skills, peers, family circumstances, school. These are the social aspects, drug effects, and all these things, family relationships, temperament, IQ, interacted with each other. And individuals' health cannot be segregated as biological, mere, that is only the pandemic pathogen related problem. It can create huge concomitant effect at the social level and even in the psychological level of the individuals. We are counting the number of deaths due to the pandemic, but also the researchers also doing the social effects and the psychological problems of the individuals due to post-pandemic era. So the concept of wellness, it is emerged in the 1950s. Actually, it was initiated by Professor H.L. Dunn. But the modern concept of wellness, it was emerged, modern concept of wellness emerged with greater pace since 1970s. And how do we understand wellness? Wellness is a well-being condition, and well-being is a state of complete wellness. So now we see what are the wellness dimensions, and if the dimensions are negative in any of the dimensions and the positive, what could be the outcome? So social dimension, if a person socially not related to the wellness side, he or she is lonely. And if a person is positive direction, he is involved. So emotional aspect, depressed, the person with positive emotional relationship, happy. The spiritual aspect, unfulfilled, an individual, he or she is fulfilled in life. Environmental aspect, unhealthy and healthy. Again, pandemic is very much related to environmental cause also. Occupational dissatisfaction, occupational satisfaction, intellectual aspect, ignorant, informed, and physical aspect, fit and unfit. So total outlook, whether it is in the negative direction or positive direction, in the wellness dimensions, a person's health is to be counted in this direction. And with the help of this diagram, it is the health is at the neutral level. So from health, signs, symptoms, disability, and illness, this is the negative side. Illness, wellness continuum, proponent was Antonovsky. And from positive direction, wellness direction, at first we need to become aware. We need to be educated. We need to follow the growth models. We need to follow the growth behavior, growth related behavior. That means the positive behaviors like taking food, doing regular exercise, age specific, for physical condition specific. So these are the growth related behaviors of an individual, and ultimately these lead to wellness condition of an individual. So we have many roles in our life. Sometimes we are the child, we are parent, we are teacher. So we have many roles in our life because we are human being. Individual being is a social being. Human being has created the social being with intellectual exchanges. And how is our learning in our life happening right from the very childhood, whether it is under stressed condition, whether it is free condition, whether it is selected by the individual. So that is a very important thing. And how did I experience from my learning experiences? That is very important. What is my real self? Who am I? What is my area of interest? Whether I am mixing with people according to my interest or due to some gain, out of desire, out of pleasure, or out of gaining some materialistic gains, sacrificing many aspects of our conscience, going many or odd situations, interacting with different situations. That means we are not playing the real self with the individual. We are not behaving with our real self. False self. We are interacting with different people with the false self. So, and that will ultimately not bringing us into a happy condition. It is leading us to unhappy condition at the under submerged level or unconscious level. So what is my ideal self? Everybody has his or her ideal self, and everybody has his or her real self. Am I a self-congruent entity? We have told that we are 5 entities existence in life, and we are having 2 selves, real self and ideal self. With the 5 entities, if our present self or real self is very much congruent or close to our real self, then if the answer is yes, the answer is to be yes for the fulfillment of basic condition for happiness and self-actualization of an individual. So,
Samida, please,
a persona,
please. Time is
persona
over,
with happiness and self-actualization can live a life satisfactorily. And the take-home message is a persona with happiness and self-actualization can live a life satisfactorily. Thank you all.
Thank you, Professor Midha. We have already learned varieties of the conduction of behavior after the age of 40, and he also explained the physiological process of rejuvenating the power, energy, learning process, and the practice in the situation, in the society. So we are thankful to Professor Midha. Now it is the time we have to learn the talk on moving towards the inclusive society through physical education by Mrs. Bharati Ramgute. Mrs. Bharati Ramgute is lecturer in the Department of Movement and Physical Education, Mauritius Institute of Education, and she is ongoing his PhD under the topic understanding the contribution of education in the construction of healthy lifestyle among Mauritius adolescent, a case study. And so many projects she is conducting. Now
19-20-21 হয়েছে তো আচ্ছা বাকি 22 আছে একটা
is requested
22 তারিখে দাও ওখানে দুটো সায়েন্স দিয়ে দাও তাই করে দাও
Madam Ramguti, please.
Thank you, Dr. Ray. I wish to thanks Dr. Pradhan and your university also for this invitation. And it's a very rare topic, and not much people would like to venture into that. I don't know. Pradhan, can you just share my screen, please? The presentation that I sent.
বোধিসত্ত্ব ম্যাডামের যে
Yes, sir.
পিপিটি আছে, হ্যাঁ
হ্যাঁ, কিন্তু পিপিটি তো আমাকে দেননি স্যার, আমি তাহলে কি করে শেয়ার করবো? ওনাকেই করতে হবে স্ক্রিন শেয়ারটা।
Madam Bharati,
Yeah.
please, Dr. Pradhan has not yet received your presentation, so you please share your presentation. It is better.
I'm trying to share the screen now. Yeah. Is it okay? You can see it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So my presentation is about inclusive physical education, whereby it's more focused on people or students with a disability. I'll just give you a background about the physical education, or the background about how we move, the disability have moved forward. So the first model was the moral or religious model, whereby people with disability was regarded as a punishment from God. So people was just, if someone born with a handicap or with a disability, people would like exclude them. They won't socialize with them. After that came the medical model, whereby it has been proved that a defect must be a failure of the body system. Then people started to move from that rigid model of religious, then starting moving towards the medical model, whereby people start accepting children with disability, but still it's a matter of mindset. Not much has been accepted to that. Then afterwards came the charity model, whereby it was more about disability being someone with a disability was someone where you have pity, where you should have sympathy for that person. There were many being tagged in the society. After that, we moved toward the social model, whereby for them it was like whatever their disability or losses, they should have that opportunity to take equal part like any other person without a disability. Then came the identity model, whereby they were having their own identity, meaning that if I'm a person with a disability, I can forge my character, my own personality without, based on the experience and circumstances that I have gone through. Then came the model, the human right model, whereby policies, international, national policies were being reinforced to give these person with disability the right to live like any other person in the world. After that, there was a focus about economic model, whereby the various disability effects on an impairment on a person's capacity, and in particular on labor and employment capacity, whereby then the country has start thinking, or internationally, nationally, they have thinking that a person with disability, it's mainly a lost workforce. So they have to bring that workforce back again. So they started to move to that model, economic model. Then came the biopsychosocial model, whereby it's the same like economic model and the social model, whereby they bring that person to the workplace. But the problem with that model was about how other people in the workforce, in that workplace was reacting. So there was a sort of integration, but to some extent, they were excluded from the normal working people. After that came the inclusion model, which promote the notion that while like having any physical, sensory, intellectual, or psychological deficiency or limitation, impairment, these people should not fail to be taken into account in that society. So that model mainly advocates that any person has the same right to live in the same society like any other person. So if that person has not been able to do so, it's not the fault of the person, it's the fault of the country, of that society, of that economy, who has failed to take that person with disability on board. Then just a recent one came the model of belongingness. It's not about only about inclusion, but being included in a society and being accepted in that society, that's a huge difference. So when the belongingness model was advocated, firstly, it was mainly to make the people with disability feel that they belong to that society. It's their society also. Then this is a bit a diagram whereby you can see how things evolve. Firstly, there was exclusion, like I said, like the religious model, whereby these people were not allowed to roam around or to go to temple or go to any social gathering. They were being excluded. Then came the model of segregation, whereby these people were put aside, but they were not inside the whole community. Then came integration. What we see in most of our educational system is the integration, where there's a special education need unit being integrated in that whole school. We are moving to inclusion, and I'll take it a step further with the belongingness model, whereby everyone should be equal. Then I just put my computer on charge. Then when we go through all these, during the pandemic, the COVID pandemic-19, we saw that there was so many limitations for these children, what they have gone through. It's mainly like, firstly, they were underreported. Any report what's going on with these children, the internet access, there were no services, support being provided to them. Student with autism, their routine was messed. They were not being able to understand what's happening when they are going to return back to school. Everything, like even the family members were not able to cope up with these like unforeseen situation. And also there was many loss of job, vulnerable financial position. There was all the progress that the school, that the therapist has brought forward, has developed in that student with physical or with, we must say, with disability, was being reversed. Meaning that the work that they have taken to put forward with that lockdown and quarantine, everything has been reversed, where they have to start anew again. Then the material, learning material, we have seen for children without disability, it was like very quickly they put everything on internet. There was Zoom, there were Teams, every support was being given to them to be able to go through, to continue their learning. But for these students, it was very difficult for them. Firstly, because the learning materials were not accessible, were not adapted. And secondly, the technology itself, like someone having blind or deaf or autism, it was very difficult for them to adapt with the technology couldn't adapt with these kind of disabilities. Then came the behavioral factors, the limitation, like being at home, like 6 months or nearly 1 year, being prison inside the house. And even if they are going outside, they were putting masks. They were not, many of these persons, they are more like tactile. learners or tactile people. They couldn't touch, they couldn't they couldn't understand what's going on. Like any person without disability, it was difficult for these children. Now the children with disability, it was much more difficult, not only for the children, but for the parent also. And also there's a, it's a very like sad, but it's a very striking fact that during the COVID pandemic, there are many children with disability who were exposed to abuses and discrimination within the family or within that environment. So that's so unfortunate. Then there was also emotional challenges like that isolation. They couldn't take it. Some was like screaming, yelling. They were so frustrated, not understanding. They are not going to school. They are not meeting their friends. They are not meeting their teachers. It was so like emotional challenges for them. So after that post COVID, so what came up for children with disability is that the access, delivery, evaluation for education, special education service need to be reviewed. Means the materials accessible at school should be online also. The delivery that the teacher who are mainly to, I don't know, in many in Indian Ocean, it's like such that teachers who teach special education needs, they are not like very qualified one. They have basic knowledge and they deal with that children. And when it comes to a skill like manipulating computer or going through Zoom or Teams and all that, becomes very challenging for them. So they couldn't deliver that. And then the evaluation also, it was nearly none. Then support them with personal wellness, which was not there. Unlike when we see physical education with children without disability, there are so many classes has been taken online. Okay, it might be a Zumba class, might be a yoga class, it might be any other. But for these children, nothing could be arranged. Even like moving, it's not because there's no space or things like such, but it's mainly because we are not trained for that. The teachers were not trained. They were not innovative enough. Then when we say now, it's like after that frustration of what they have gone through, it's a very right time to give them more pleasurable engagement so that they can come back to that routine very easily. And, we have seen that the routine has been disrupted and all, and it's time to put new things into that routine. It's not like before. It was like, okay, we are going to reinforce these students with the capacity, skills, so that they can manage their daily life. It's not only that now, because we have seen that pandemic has not just put people down, but economies down, giants down. So it's for them, students with disability, they are very vulnerable. This pandemic has made us reflect that it's not always about like how they are going to live life, but they can prepare themselves for these kind of things or diseases also. Then came, it has been noted that strong, active collaboration between home, school, community, neighborhood, and all that we should actively collaborate to bring these students, these kind of children out of what they have suffered. And what is very intriguing, it's the health protocol. I think in every country we are going through that health protocol when we are going into classes. Unfortunately, it's like such. But fortunately, in Mauritius, we are COVID-free, and for now we have a bit been lenient on all these protocols. But it's there in very how to say, in risky countries. So these children are not able to understand, why should I wear a mask to go to school? Why are they checking the temperature? Why are they keeping me like there's a physical distance? Why should I wash my hands every time? And it is very difficult to make them understand, mainly those who has autism, or who are ADHD patient, or those who are mentally retarded. They can't grasp that it's going to take time for them to come back to this new routine now. And for us now, our role as physical education teachers, educators, I like the term like physical education agents to promote physical education. So for these students, why the role of physical education is so important? Firstly, we have to relieve the stress, the negative emotion that they have acquire, or they have taken inside during that pandemic situation of not going out, of not meeting their friends, of not meeting their beloved teacher and all that, and promote wellness. We have to appease, like we have to bring all these negativity down and make them have that trust again, that okay, everything is going to be normal again, with a new normal or new routine. Then physical education is going to help the physical therapist. When there was the quarantine or lockdown, we have seen that all the progress that has been done on that student or on these student has returned back to zero. So physical education is going to play a very important role, not only for these students, but also they are going to help these physical therapists to bring a very quick progress to the therapy side. Then they are going to learn through play, sitting in the class again, like in between the four walls. It's going to be very frustrating for them. Taking them outside, letting them interact with the environment, with the nature, but at the same time making them learn. But here I must precise, or I must lay emphasis that this is a multi-dimensional or multi-subject teaching. It's not only the physical education. It might be physical education or learning maths through play, learning English through play, language, or any creative subject through physical education. And also it helps to create a new routine in a relaxed way. Okay, we have to install a new routine now, but it will be more a play-wise, a relaxed mode. They are not going to be like struggling or like having any behavioral problem to accept this new routine. But this can be done. It's not by imposing, but by asking them or telling them it's like, it's a play, it's a new play. Then came the meditation part, where it had to enhance concentration. Like we said, like these students, children, they are very agitated. Through meditation, they can calm down and they will be able to better concentrate. And then physical education is going to remove all the barriers like socializing with friends, with your teacher, with other members, or with the community, or with that society the child is born or is residing, and all. Then through play, physical education, physical activity, they are going to boost their self-esteem and their trust issue, like I said. Many when they are at home during the pandemic situation, the parents are not able to manage with their behavior. So there are so many things that has been done, that has been said to them, that has brought their self-esteem or their confidence level down. So just to boost that self-esteem and confidence level and trust again, physical education teachers are going to play a very important role. And then the sense of belongingness. We have seen that physical education has bring a sense of belongingness. Like, I am into this team, so how can I help my team? Likewise, when there was the pandemic, every friends has been dispersed. Everyone has been staying at their home and all that. Teachers, school, there was support teachers, there was carers. Everyone was like split, and they were at their own house and all that. So through physical education, again, they are going to come together, and through play, they are going to feel that sense of belongingness. Okay, I was left alone, or I was not excluded. I was not left alone because of that pandemic. The situation was like such. Through play, they can have that. Okay, my teacher is again here for me, or my colleagues or my teammates are again here for me. So it's going to reinforce that part of belongingness. So physical education is going to play a very important role for people or children with disabilities. But unfortunately, I must say that we have very scarce teachers specialized in this field. And to be able to take care of these students, we must go beyond their disabilities and see the human being that they are able to come up. And yeah, it's a very small one. So I'm open to any question if ever there is. Yeah.
There is question answer session, madam. So at the end of all talks,
okay,
you have to.
So I thank you all for your attention, and I know India is going very strong, and they are fighting back the COVID situation. But stay safe still. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Bharati. You have elaborately discussed the problems of special children, and how we, the members of the society as well as the authority, how to overcome this crisis for them. So thank you very much. One announcement for the audience: if you have any doubt or queries, please put it on the chat box. At the end of this scientific session, we have another doubt clearing timing. So every speaker have to clear our doubt as well as our queries. Madam, again, your thanks. Now this is the time to learn about interventional strategies to avert post-pandemic crisis related to psychological factors influencing teaching learning process. And this is to be delivered by our beloved Professor Sudarshan Bhowmik. Professor Bhowmik is a former professor from the Department of Physical Education, Kalyani University, and he is the man who has the capability in both theory and practice, as well as in theoretical aspects of physical education, as well as practical aspects of physical education. And he is considered as renowned biomechanics, not only in India, but also abroad also. And he has a vast experience in the field of physical education, and so many national, international seminars where he has delivered valuable talks, and we always are waiting to listen him. I think there is nothing to introduce Professor Bhowmik, because Professor Bhowmik is Professor Bhowmik. So I would like to request our beloved sir, Professor Bhowmik, please deliver your talk, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Principal, Mugberia Gangadhar Mahavidyalaya, members of the organizing committee of the seminar, members of the faculty of the institute, the coordinator of this webinar, learned speakers, and attending delegates. I wish you all a very good afternoon now and a very happy new year for 2021. At the outset, I would like to extend my thanks to the members of the organizing committee of this seminar to invite me as a speaker and to provide me the opportunity to convey my views on the theme of the seminar. Now, the seminar theme is the role of physical education to provide psychological support for managing of post-pandemic crisis in teaching learning process.
অডিয়েন্সদের আবার বলছি একটুকু মিউট করুন, আমরা বক্তব্য শুনছি।
Keeping the central theme in mind, I have decided to speak on the topic interventional strategies to avert post-pandemic crisis related to psychological factors influencing teaching learning process. My subtopics of this particular topic will be impact of pandemic situation due to COVID-19 on education. Next, expected post-pandemic crisis related to psychological factors for teaching and learning. Next, interventional strategies to avert post-pandemic crisis. And finally, in form of conclusion, strategies to build the education better than before. Now let us begin with the fact that the world as a whole has been passing through a very serious traumatic situation for last 10-11 months due to pandemic caused by COVID-19. Family life, socio-cultural aspect, recreational pursuit, economic growth, business endeavor, and almost all other aspects of life, social and personal, have been seriously shattered. Health, education, service, financial condition, and all other aspects of individual life have also been negatively affected. To discuss all these things require much more time. And within the, you can say, limitation of the seminar theme, we will discuss and analyze the situation about the impact of the, you can say, pandemic on education in general and teaching learning situation in particular. Now, impact of the situation on education itself also can be felt from a simple example or from the simple fact that the number of seminars being organized on this issue has been much more than any other theme in recent times. In this regard, you can say different international organizations also expressed their concern. The World Bank Group has indicated that there are twin shocks in this regard. These are number one, school closure, and number two, global recession. Among them, the school closure almost everywhere in the planet has been considered as the largest shock to all education system in our lifetimes. Director General UNESCO and Executive Director UNICEF have reported that nearly 1.6 billion learners, that is more than 90% of the world's total enrolled student population, and 63 millions of teachers have been affected by school closures only. According to experts, the impact of these shocks may produce many consequences, like, you see, at first the consequence due to shock as a result of closure of schools. As a result of closure of schools, learning will decline, dropouts will increase, especially among most disadvantaged sections. Health and safety will also suffer without the support of the schools, because these things used to be supported by the schools when it was normal. And from the economic shock, the IMF projects that the global economy will shrink about 3%, and the shock will have severe consequences for both governments and households, and it will hit both the demand for education and supply of education system. Considering the demand of education system, that means who needs education, the children, students, it has been apprehended that students dropout will rise, with many students leaving schooling forever, and the higher dropout will be in a disadvantaged sections. And second, learning will suffer even more due to economic pressure on household, because there are many persons who have lost their jobs for this particular pandemic situation. And on the supply side, that means who will serve the education, that means the educational institutes and teachers, their economy also will decline, and due to this economic shock, they will also suffer. And due to these consequences, there will be long-term crisis in the field of education. And if these crises are left unchecked, then there will be long-term effects on both students and society. There may be increase in learning poverty, which could prevent a whole generation from realizing their true potential. That means there will be a generation gap in human resource for society itself. Society will suffer then, because today's students will ultimately come to or tomorrow's, you can say, forefront for administration of the society. Because if they are not properly grown up, then society will suffer in future. And next, students who are forced to drop out of school or experience significant declines in learning will have lower lifetime productivity and earnings. That means individual development will suffer. The persons who are supposed to grow up to their fullest, with you can say to their they are supposed to unfold their potential, they will become some stalwart in certain fields. If they cannot do that, that means individual development will be hampered, and then there will be problems, you can say, for the individual persons also. Inequality will rise, because these impacts will likely to be greater for students from poor and marginalized households. The children who need education the most to climb out of poverty will be most likely to be deprived of it. You see, there are many children who are the who come to the school as the first generation learner, and with the education they prepare themselves and they come out of the poverty. But if they do not get the education in proper way, they cannot, you can say, prepare themselves, grow in right way, then definitely there will be, you can say, problem for them, and they will suffer, and the differences between you can say high and low sections will be much more. Now what will be the impact on, you can say, education of these particular things? During this last 11-12 months, there have been a few research works. I am here to report a few things, how it is going to, you can say, develop some sort of concerns in different areas. Research work says that the cases of anxiety and depression among teenagers have been reported to be almost doubled from the pre-COVID levels. You see, these are the two main things. It has also been mentioned by my previous speakers. Anxiety and depression will be much more. Then studies also have reported that adolescents will be less depressed than the older ones. That means those who are in higher education, perhaps they are thinking that just after completing their education, they will go for job. Suddenly they will be frustrated, they will be depressed, they will be anxious. And again, studies also have indicated that adolescent girls were found to have more anxiety and depressive symptoms. Again, a few studies have indicated that anxiety and depression were found to be higher in rural areas, because they think that there is nothing to do, and you can say, city areas, they perhaps have, you can say, can come out of the problem with some help from here and there. But you can say, regions, rural areas, they will have more problem, and that is why they are very much anxious. Children from highly affected areas were found to have more fear, anxiety, and other emotional symptoms. You see, those who have, you can say, faced this situation, either somebody in their family might have suffered from this, or they themselves might have suffered from this, if this is the situation, or in that particular area somebody has suffered from that particular, you can say, disease, then that he has seen, and that is why he will be more anxious. So the ones who are at home for social distancing exhibited less anxiety. That means social distancing definitely has produced better results as per research reports. Depression and distress resulted irritable mood most of the days due to social distancing. Again, you see, this is the problem. When the children, they are put up at home instead of going to their classmates in the school situation, there is a stress also. They become irritable because they don't want to be in home, in a segregated manner all the days. So that becomes a problem. It has also been reported. Feelings of insecurity was reported due to parental unemployment and loss of house income. Oh, that was a great problem. Insecurity, feeling of insecurity. Trauma among children and youth resulted due to loss of family members. Some child might have lost somebody in his family. So that becomes a traumatic, you can say, condition for him, situation for him. And that maybe also, if he himself has suffered somebody, that also becomes a trauma for him, because that is a very bad condition, bad experience for him. So children from another studies have indicated, children from low income families had more mental health and general well-being problems. You see, less income families, children, they have more well-being, mental well-being and health problems due to not availability of healthy meals, mental health support, and playground facilities for exercise caused due to closure of schools. So these are a few, you can say, research works. On the basis of that, we can understand that what is expected when the schools will open, that children will come. and what will be their psychological problems. They will come back, and with that psychological problems, they will come for teaching and learning. What that is the main, you can say, area of discussion here in this particular seminar. So expected psychological problems for teaching and learning will be on this, you can say, on the basis of these findings, we can say that there will be, you can say, disturbed mental health, and that will be influenced by anxiety and depression, feeling of insecurity, trauma, and stress. So mental health of the children will be in, you can say, bad condition when they will come to school. Then lack of self-efficacy. Self-efficacy indicates self-reliance, self-dependence, self-confidence. They will not be self-confident. They will think, I will not be able to learn more. I will not be able to do these things properly. All these things, they have lost their own faith on themselves. That is the problem. With that condition, they will come to school or institution. Problem is there. Improper attitude. You could say proper attitude is a must for learning something. Disrupted attentional focus. If I cannot focus, if my attention is not there in a proper manner, whatever is being taught in the class, I cannot concentrate on that. So I will not be able to learn properly. Lack of concentration. From out of focus attention, lack of concentration will develop. Lack of motivation, as I am not able to learn something, as this learning will not help me at all, even in, you can say, greater students also, because you can say this year I will not be able to face the interviews or something like that. All the, you can say, these things will be lost for me. And so he will be lack of motivation and lack of interest for learning. All these mental factors, psychological problems, will lead to negative academic consequence. And with these things, they will come to the school, and we have to find out some solution for them. So that is the main area. Then what will be the interventional strategies to avoid these problems? That is the main area of discussion here. Okay, see, I will suggest this interventional strategies in two phases. The first phase is providing psychological first aid. Psychological first aid, this is a very nice concept. Psychological first aid should be provided to all these students when they will come after this pandemic situation again to the school. What is this psychological first aid? Psychological first aid is actually it aims to reduce stress symptoms and assist in a healthy recovery following a traumatic event, natural disaster, public health emergency, or even a personal crisis. Okay, so this you can say psychological first aid concept is old one, and there is a kit developed by World Health Organization that can be used. So it is not a very new concept, but for us, those who are in the field of maybe education or physical education as such, because we have not, you can say, faced this type of pandemic situation before. So it has not been used so far by us. That is why it may be a new one for us. But I will definitely, you can say, suggest this psychological first aid. As soon as they come, you provide first aid. Psychological first aid, because mentally they are not in good condition. They are not in a position to go to the learning situation. So psychological first aid should be provided to them. Now, how we can provide this psychological first aid? There are 5 major steps. They have been, you can say, in a very short manner, they have been expressed as: create a sense of safety, create calm, create self and collective efficacy, create connection, and create hope. These are the 5 steps that should be followed to provide psychological first aid. What is this? Create sense of safety. That means when they are coming, they are feeling unsafe. So as a teacher, we should come forward to them, tell them that you are out of shape. Emergency is over. There is no stressful situation. Now you should not be feeling yourself unsafe. You are safe because everything is okay now. So this feeling of safety, that feeling should be developed within him, and that is the main first part, creating, you can say, sense of safety for that particular child. The next part is creating calm. Creating calm means when we are dealing, or the teacher will deal to that students, both of them, or he or she will speak and act calmly. No shouting, no hazardous way of doing something. So there should be calm, because sound or fastness, it has got some, you can say, negative impact on the normal condition of the, or you can say, mental condition of the child. So these things should be very, very carefully, you can say, maintained, and that should be the calm, very, very, you can say, peaceful situation should be maintained. If the situation remains, you can say, disturbed, calm means, you can say, opposite to disturbed, then even we can take the help of jog. We can tell him to take deep breath in and breathe out slowly. This is a very beautiful process to bring somebody down when he is, you can say, not calm at all, when he is otherwise aroused. So from aroused condition to take somebody down, this technique can be followed also. So that is a good thing. Then third phase is creating self and collective efficacy. That means we have to build confidence inside, in that particular child or the children. You see, they have lost their self-dependence. They cannot rely themselves. They have lost faith on themselves. They now have started thinking that they cannot do anything more. So at first they have to tell, no, you can do. You have done before this thing. You have that particular, you can say, ability. You faith on him. I will help you. You faith on him. Do these things yourself. I am here. So that is how you should develop self-efficacy on him. That is, if that is done, gradually he will be out of that particular condition where he does not, or he did not have the, you can say, self-dependence, or you can say, self-reliance. So that should be the one step. And next step is create connection, because sometimes the social distancing may create, you can say some isolation problem for him. So you should tell him that you are not alone now. If you think so, that I am with you as a teacher, you should tell that I am with you. I will work with you. Don't feel yourself alone. And you have got many friends. You see, you have got many friends. We will work together, and you do not feel that you are alone. So feel connected. Feel connected. If you have some problem, we are there to help you. So feel connected. You are not alone. That is the main thing. And create hope. He was hopeless. He was thinking that nothing will be done for him. So you just bring back him with that particular hope, that he has also some ability. He has also some, you can say, something to do for his future development. He will be able to do. He will also grow. He will also learn. He will also pass. He will also do everything just like others can do, or he can do now as he used to do before. So if these 5 steps are followed, as soon as these children come to the, you can say, institution, or the students come to the institution, these things should be provided by the teachers. And that is how teachers should be, you can say, very careful to handle the situation. Because
এই যে দীনবন্ধু অধিকারী, মাইকটা বন্ধ করুন।
Because just like you see, even in, you can say, in the play field, when we, you can say, go for first aid, the main idea is just to tackle the present situation. Thereafter, the main treatment will come. So similarly here, the first idea is to provide them the psychological first aid, so that the children who have come after a shock, okay, after you can say some traumatic situation, so they can come back to their own self. Yes, we can also do this type of thing. They will be developing within themselves, and then that will be the real situation to teach the things. So for teaching, these things should be done. And so this first aid, psychological first aid should be provided in the first phase, and second phase there should be some, you can say, next treatment or next procedure or program should be followed. In this you can say connection, the physical education teacher has got a lot to do, because that thing this Dr. Ramgutti also has mentioned very nicely. You can say help from physical education can do much more than other teachers, because he is very close to students. He works with the students inside the class, in the playground, even outside the playground when they go for some recreative program. So from outdoor education, all the things, he always remain with the children, and that is why he has got enough scope to help the you can say children, you can say in right manner. Okay, so what should be done? The teachers need to give more time. You can say teachers should not think that my class is over, so I have come here for my job, my class is over, I will go back. I do not care whether that student has got some problem or that, like that. No, because you are a responsible teacher, especially physical education teacher. You can do that thing because you are close to the you can say children. If you tell, children will understand, children will listen you. That is why you should give more time, more care, more attention to understand the problems of the children with sympathy. Okay, say you do not, you can say treat them you can say just like other situations. You should have sympathy. You must have sympathy. You should try to understand what is the actual problem. You see, you can say in normal condition also it is told that every child is a unique entity. He has got, or it has got its own strong and weak points. Teacher has to understand every child. So it has been mentioned also, you can say, by great educators, the child is a book that should be read from page to page. So here it is more needed now, because child has faced some problem. So you should understand what is the what was problem with him. So what is the mental state he is possessing now. So accordingly he should come forward with his help. Then he should encourage the students for bringing confidence back. Yeah, don't worry, we are all here. Everybody also has that problem, had that problem. Now everybody has come back. No problem, we will be again come back. We will, you can say, work together. You don't worry. To involve students more in a group activity programs. Here I should mention one thing. You see, when the children were at home, that time they were alone. Actually, education has three main objectives. That is cognitive development, affective development, and psychomotor development. This cognitive development can be managed through, you can say, your internet program and other online program. But what about this affective domain? Affective domain means it includes the development of values, development of inculcation of social qualities. How these will be done? Value development can take place only when one fellow sees other man of value, because in that particular you can say concern, the teacher should, you can say, behave in a role model in the school situation. Students see their teachers, that an educated person is like that. Educated person should talk like this, should walk like this, should behave like this. That is how he develops value system within him, which should be done, which should not be done, which should be followed, which should not be followed. And that is why it is told these values are generally caught, not taught in most of the cases. So it should be caught from others, the ideal persons, and teachers should behave like that. They should be ideal in their behavior. Okay, that is you can say one important part of, you can say, physical education teacher. He should be ideal to the students. Then again, arrange programs for regular exercise, maybe games, maybe recreative games. You can say in schools, we just consider that there is no physical education as such. General students are there, but all are in traumatic condition or are in disturbed mental health condition. So everybody should be having some sort of physical exercise, because doing something physically, that takes your mental agony out, because our mind can concentrate at a time on a particular one thing. If I concentrate on playing, I will not be you can say thinking bad, or thinking risk, or thinking some sort of bad things, or this thing in mind, because I am engaged in playing. My mind is engaged in playing. So program of exercise, program of games, I think games are more preferred. Even the, you can say, recreational games are more preferred in that particular way. So that will be good, that can produce better results. Then to arrange yogic practices using including meditation, because they need to know that they have got some own ability, that you can say knowing themselves, that is that should be developed within them. That is yoga can do. You tell them in a group situation that you sit down quiet, think about yourself, keeping closing your eyes, and think just about yourself. What are you thinking, or like that, very simply, okay? Or you yourself think about your you can say mind, you concentrate on your this point, like that. Whatever you should develop, there are many such programs. You can use this, how you can help them in meditation. Then advice to follow regulated routine. You can say now they have to follow regulated routine, so that they can develop a particular daily schedule, indicating time to work, leisure activities, sleep, exercise, all these things, even food. Then health habits also you can indicate, washing hands, what for it is. Then before and after taking meal, or what he should do. And you should also encourage them to follow other health habits. So you can say taking rest in time, going to the sleep in time, doing exercise, all these things should be done in the next phase. So first phase, psychological first aid. Second phase, that is the treatment now, to avert their problems. That is, this type of program should be placed before them, so that they can be normal. So that is the main thing. And in conclusion, I should say that post-COVID world will be a different world. I am talking all these things considering that COVID-19 is coming to an end, because we are having these vaccines now, and we will be going to the normal situation. So and the seminar theme also is like that only, post-COVID situation, what we can do. So post-COVID, we should understand that post-COVID world will be a completely different world. According to experts, we still have the opportunity to turn this crisis into an opportunity. You see, post-COVID world has put us in different situations. Many problems we are facing due to post-COVID, but at the same time, it has given us one opportunity also. If we can use that opportunity, then perhaps we can also develop ourselves much better than as we were before. You see, I can just give one example. This using this method of teaching now, or attending this conference online, this was not done. I think we by doing this thing, we have you can say progressed at least 10 years. You can say we could have done in normal condition, you can say after 10 years, or you can say not before 5 to 6 years. So we have gone ahead because of this situation. It has compelled us to do these things, to think otherwise. So accordingly, we have to think. The future belongs to those who can imagine it, design it, and execute it. Sutarang, we have to, you can say, understand future. We have to imagine, understand, and after that we have to plan. And this is in a modern term, it is called future literacy. We have to develop future literacy also. How we can plan our future. Okay. So even you see, even before COVID-19 pandemic, the world was living in a learning crisis and learning poverty. See, about 250, it has been reported that 258 million children and youth of primary and secondary school age were out of school that time. But if we consider now that now we will develop our system in such a way, because the society has been become aware, parents are aware that education should be there because of this pandemic situation. It has created a new one. So we can effectively use this thing so that not only we can repair our children back, we can also go back better than before also. So that is the, you can say, main thing. And lastly, I should say that for doing this thing, we have to change our vision, you see, through transition from pedagogy 1 to 4. Nowadays, this pedagogy 4 has been introduced. The summary becomes shifting contents from more traditional ones used in direct instruction to more online. That is, it should be shifted like that. Transitioning from the use of technologies in classroom to beyond classroom, as we are doing now. Say, keeping myself away from a distance of about 1600 kilometers, I am attending your seminar. And Dr. Ramugutti also, perhaps she is attending the seminar, remaining at a distance of more than 4,000 or 5,000 kilometers away. So this is possible that way. Then expanding the scope of education irrespective of time and place. There is no time that only at 10 to 3 like that education doing take place. No, there should be time and place should be, you can say, expanded. Change of concept of schools from physical structure to community network. You can say not only school, we will learn through community network. That is how it should come. And transitioning from traditional roles of teachers and concepts of teaching to new roles of teacher, and teaching accompanied by innovative pedagogy and educational technologies. That is the, you can say, pedagogy 4 as it has been mentioned. So that is what I wanted to share with you all. Thank you very much. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. Well said. Thank you very much, sir.
I am extending my sincere thanks to Professor Bhoumik, as he narrated the problems due to COVID, as well as in the field of economy and in the field of child development, and how we should have to cope up with the situation in the post-pandemic era, and how the educational the methodology will be based on technology based. So we have learned a lot. Now we will have the doubt clearing session, and Dr. Bidhan Chandra Samanto will take charge, because the chat box there are some questions, so you are requested to make liaison between the speakers as well as the audience. Dr. Samanto, please.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ray. Good afternoon, everybody. For the last 2 hours today, we heard 4 valuable lectures from eminent personalities of reputed institutions on role of physical education to provide psychological support for management of post-pandemic crisis in teaching learning process. Various challenges raised due to COVID and scope of physical education to manage these challenges after post-pandemic. All these are pointed out by the speakers very nicely today, especially Professor Bhoumik.
Thank you.
Last talk. It is true that COVID-19 pandemic that has shaken the world will perhaps change our lives forever. Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. It is true that COVID-19 pandemic that has shaken the world will perhaps change our lives forever. Often we now talk of a pre-COVID world where business and education were as usual, and a post-COVID world which is the new normal. While the disease caused by a teeny virus has affected millions, it has also brought to fore some often ignored challenges and opportunities also to build a better tomorrow. Though science has been in the forefront, driving these monumental changes across the world, from understanding the virus and designing a vaccine, yet all other streams and wings, I think, are trying their best to throwing insights on how we could prepare for managing post-pandemic crisis and prevent the next pandemic. So we are optimistic that we can overcome the crisis. Yet, many doubts are now arising regarding this aspect. So the session is now opened for interaction with the speakers today to clear those doubts in a frankly question answer manner. We are interested to take questions on management of post-pandemic crisis in teaching learning process only. So I would like to invite some questions from the participants of Zoom platform and to YouTube. Some questions I have saw in the Zoom chat box from Subhabrata Kaur. He want to ask that what is the main difference between inclusive physical education and adapted physical education?
It is for
He
Dr. Ramurthy.
do not mention the speaker name to whom he want to ask this question. His question is, what is the main difference between inclusive physical education and adapted physical education?
The difference is sympathy and empathy. So simple. So
Okay.
for adapted physical education, it's more like you give the student all the support so that he can adapt to the class. This is adapted physical education. But inclusive physical education, it's whereby the teacher adapt everything, teaching the class itself to that student. That's the main difference. For example, if I've got someone who don't have hands in my class and I have a volleyball session, in adapted physical education, I'm going to make him adapt, like using his other limbs to be able to play volleyball. But in inclusive physical education, I'm going to bring every student of the class to sitting volleyball. So I have brought the majority to his level. It's not like adapting him to them. That's the main difference. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Another question from him, and I think it is for Professor Bhumik sir. And how physical literacy can help the children to overcome the psychological fatigue due to pandemic school lockdown? If there is psychological first aid, please give some examples of psychological wounds. These are superficial or deep. If it is deep, then mention the suitable aid. I think
again, question is
all these are discussed. All these are discussed already, I think. Actually, you want to ask how physical literacy can help the children to overcome the psychological fatigue due to pandemic school lockdown.
Okay, you see, if it is asked to me, then I can answer it. You see, physical literacy cannot be taught, because literacy cannot be taught. Literacy is a state within oneself. So that can be taught only, that can be developed through teaching its variables. That if it depends on knowledge of, say, games and sports, then you should develop knowledge and sports. Then with that, he will develop physical literacy. If it is depends on fitness, then you develop fitness, then it will help to develop physical literacy, like that. Similarly is the literacy.
স্যারকে শোনা যাচ্ছে না মনে হয়।
হ্যাঁ, তো স্যারের নেটওয়ার্কের প্রবলেম হলো মনে হচ্ছে। হ্যালো স্যারের লাস্টের কথাগুলো শোনা গেল না। Okay. Am I audible?
Can I substantiate something? I am Professor Sanjeev Mridha speaking.
Yes.
Actually, the question asked by Dr. Shubhabroto Kaur, it's a nice question. Physical literacy is developed through participation in different activities, and the activities are done on the ground, in water, on air, and on ice. These are the four surfaces where an individual child grows during his childhood up to majorly 12 years of age. So all the components like letters A, B, C, D are learned from different surfaces, interaction, playing through fundamental movements, all those things. So interacting with the nature in these four mediums, one can learn physical literacy. But due to pandemic, there are some hindrances. So let us wait for the normal situation to restore. And
Hello. Can you hear me now? Actually, my internet is on suddenly, so I have to change my device. So anyhow, physical literacy, it is not very easy to develop because it is a long time process. So if you can develop, that will definitely help in overcoming the psychological problems, of course, but it is not that easy to develop because it takes time. Okay.
And the next part of this question.
What is that next part? I cannot understand the question properly. You just repeat it.
The next part is, if there is psychological first aid, please give some examples of psychological. Please give some examples of psychological wounds. These are superficial or deep?
No. Frustration itself is a psychological issue. So there is no psychological first aid or something.
No, first aid, no, sir. First aid.
Psychological first aid. Psychological first aid is a new concept that was developed in 1940s, but it has been used thereafter more and more after this maybe World War or maybe this type of pandemic situation. And nowadays it is being used. There are a lot of literatures on that, and one can, you can say, refer these things over net. Even World Health Organization also has some booklet on this in different languages. I think 13-14 languages they have covered to produce their booklets on psychological first aid. How it is, what it is, how it is, when it should be done, who can do it. All these things are there. You can have, you can say, literature on it. Okay. I will be happy if you go through these things and learn these things that way. I will be happy because I will think that I have stimulated you to learn more and more.
Okay. Thank you. Another question from Umesh Uttasini. It is also to Bhumik sir. How can we implement psychological first aid without trained personnel?
Yeah, psychological first aid is first aid. It does not require trained personnel. Okay. That is the main, you can say, main thing also. Very unique characteristics of psychological first aid is that it does not require, you can say, trained personnel. Everybody can, with sympathy, even as a teacher, you can do this thing.
Exactly.
It can be done.
Okay, thank you. Another last question. I think it is the last question. It is to all of the speakers. Due to pandemic, teaching learning process is affected very badly. Though online teaching learning has taken leadership on this, yet many students of rural area like us are deprived from this online teaching learning due to not availability of internet connection and become frustrated. Though Professor Bhumik and Bharati ma'am said some ways to be done after post-pandemic, but at that moment, what kind of particular psychological support can be provided to them to overcome this situation? Actually, who are depriving now from online teaching, those students are frustrated, very much frustrated about their exam, about their syllabus. So at that moment, what kind of particular psychological support can be provided to them to overcome this situation?
At first, they should be provided these materials what they need at first. Otherwise, if you see only providing psychological, we can say some tips that if it will be done after some time, if you when you get that thing, okay, that will not lessen their anxiety as such. But main thing is society should come forward, government should come forward to help these needy sections, so that they can help their assistants and they can accordingly grow. And that is why I think governments of different, you can say, provinces, and they are also doing in the same way. Even in university, in a university setup, university also is providing these type of things, these connections, then materials, then these mobile phones, like these things. All these things are being provided. You see, without this thing, you cannot learn, because you are away, farther away. Only thing left is you can say pick up your book and go through that thing. So that is also needed. Either you should have your library, or you should go to library, or you should have internet. And if you don't have this internet facility at all, then that also you cannot do. So anything that should be done so that they can do it for others. That is the main thing. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
This is
Can
a
I
challenge.
add something?
Hello.
Can I substantiate something?
Yes, sir.
Whatever Professor Bhumik told, in addition to that, I can add something that initially, if we look back 10 years or 5 years, the access of internet, that is to the rural areas, was very poor condition.
Yeah.
Now you see that apart from the teaching learning process, the business through online, it is happening at a faster rate than ever before. So it is the utmost necessity of connecting throughout the globe with internet connectivity and good networking connectivity, online connectivity. It is an utmost necessity at the government level, at the different industrialists level. So for the time being, if we stop and if we demoralize that we are some kind of deprivation in terms of learning and teaching processes, but whatever resources do we have, we cannot, many of our students cannot participate in lecture program directly, but they are taking from support from the repository or from the recorded lectures, or we are providing the hard copies, so that through WhatsApp. So through different channels, we are trying to connect the students of different parts of the country. And Professor Bhumik has already mentioned that the universities are providing also data packs and mobile sets. So in that way, so that the 1 year, 2 year loss during their learning days, it should not be wasted. So the better it is to think in positive way, that how much out of this stressful condition or constrained condition I can better cope up with the situation. That is also another challenge in the form of, and ultimately, if one can sustain and handle the challenge in that way positively, it will definitely bring out the better ability and confident. It will make confident and student and the learner, definitely. And another thing is that 24/7 connectivity between the teacher and the taught, it has made, it was not possible. Professor Bhumik's lecture, it was mentioned that it was teaching learning was 10 to 3 affair or 11 to 3 affair. It is now 24/7. Any student can send his or her problems and to the teacher, and teacher at his own time, he can respond to the student. So in that way, we can get the opportunity also. It is provided us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Can I add, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it's just that the COVID situation has bring us backward. teaches us so many things that the old habit has to come up again. With this new era, we have been so dependent on internet and everything that we forgot newspaper, books, and everything. So we have to revert back. And also, like if in a region there are some, of course, some students can't have access to internet, but there might be one that have access, or there is another way that they are going or through CDs or something like such. Then they can go for peer teaching. That is one solution. Or like, I know it was long ago, like the gurus were coming to the house. So it might be like putting some in a
Small groups.
Yeah, in a small group, and then come down to the student instead of the student going to the teacher. That might be a solution also.
Okay. Okay.
Cluster idea.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Cluster.
Yes, cluster idea.
Hello, I am Argosubul.
Yes.
Now my point is that actually presently I am teaching in a very remote area. Okay, 30% of my students, they actually cannot access the WhatsApp and etc. Sometimes I send them hard material through post. However, the problem is, and that is why in my lecture I emphasize on the digital gap between privileged and underprivileged students.
Yeah.
This is very much reality. This is very much reality we are facing, and the equality for education. This is somehow very much disrupted. This is really okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Another last question from Dhiman. I just see it. Guide and encouragements can be called as psychological first aid. Guide and encouragements.
No. First aid always happens after injury.
Okay.
So guiding a particular thing for particular purpose is not first aid.
A protection.
Okay. If you are under traumatic condition, you have come out of that, then it is first aid, psychological first aid. Okay.
Okay.
Actually, it is psychologically helping you to come back to the normal state because you are in trauma. That is the first aid concept.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir, for your nice interaction with us, with our
Thank
participants also. Now the session is over. Over to Devashish Ray.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Samanto.
Thank you.
And also all the speakers, especially to our Bhumik sir, who have narrated each and every aspects of the post-pandemic crisis, how we have to cope up with that. Now, I would like to request Dr. Kishore Mukhopadhyay to share his experience regarding this webinar. Dr. Kishore Mukhopadhyay, you are in the platform, so please share your experience in a nutshell. Dr. Kishore Mukhopadhyay, are you here? Dr. Kishore Mukhopadhyay, are you here? Then, Madam, Dr. Subhra Bosak, are you here? You are requested to share your experience regarding this webinar. Madam, Dr. Subhra Bosak, are you here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I am here. Sir, can you hear me?
Please.
Sir, it's a very good experience for me that in such a COVID situation, I can hear this type of valuable lecture, especially from Bhumik sir. It's my honor, it is a great opportunity for me that you all of you arrange this type of lecture program, and I think it is a great opportunity for students also, those who are listening to us. So thank you, sir, and thank you to all of the speakers today delivered their lecture, valuable lecture, and thank you to all the organizers.
Thank you, Dr. Bosak. Now I would like to request Dr. Krishnendu Dhar from Tripura. You are in the platform, so you are requested to share your experience in a nutshell. Dr. Krishnendu Dhar, please. Hello, Dr. Krishnendu Dhar. Dr. Krishnendu Dhar, are you here? So, okay, thanks to all. Now I would like to request one of our faculty members, Sheikh Khabiruddin, assistant professor in our department, to deliver vote of thanks. Sheikh Khabiruddin, please.
Thank you, sir. Honorable dignitaries, distinguished guests, respected principal, sir, beloved head of the department, members of the staff, Mugberia Gangadhar Mahavidyalaya, and dear participants, and its entire fraternity and the organizing committee, a very good evening to one and all. I feel immense pleasure to take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to eminent personality who have associated today on the occasion of international webinar, that is role of physical education to provide psychosocial support for management of post-pandemic crisis in teaching learning process. First of all, I'd like to thank the webinar patron, Sri Odhendu Maiti, President of GB, Mugberia Gangadhar Mahavidyalaya, and MLA of Bhagavanpur Assembly. I would like to thank for his unfaltering support our beloved principal, Dr. Shapon Kumar Mishra, who is always with us to do something in favor of or in behalf of physical education. Thank you, sir. I'd like to sincere gratitudes to our head of the department, Dr. Debashish Rai, for his constant effort to make the webinar a grand success. And I also like to hearty thanks to Dr. Bodhisattva Pradhan for his iron determination to conduct as convener for this international webinar. Finally, the organizing part, I'd like to thank, heartful thank to Dr. Bidhan Chandra Samanto, head of the Department of Chemistry, also Teacher Council Secretary.
Khabir, probably you are
For his
okay, continue. Please
support
continue.
through the question answer sessions. As far as the expert panelist is concerned, yes, dear participants, a lot, I think, through their speech. And Hindi में कहावत है, quality expert बिना webinar किया. এটা চলছে খুব আজকাল. Nowadays it is going on. And I think they are the power of this webinar, means the panel of expert. And I would like to thank, therefore, former Professor Sudarshan Bhumi, Department of Physical Education, University of Kolani, for such a nice point of view on strategic for management of post-pandemic crisis in educations. As like every speech, I have enjoyed a lot today. And sir, from my point of view, is the one of the legend teacher in the field of physical education. And he has also constructed today the concept of, again, reopen the concept of psychological first aid. Another speaker we have, Professor Sanjeev Midha, is also the eminent speaker in the field of physical education. And he is belong from Department of Physical Education, Jadavpur University. And sir has enlightened on the topic of light start at 40, revisiting the thought after the 2019 pandemics. We equipped as cognitive development through your speech, sir. Thank you very much. We have another speaker, Dr. Argho Shukul, Assistant Professor, Department of Sociology, NCMM Government College, Paschim Medinipur. And Sir has said on the topic of COVID-19 and post-planning. Sir has described on the field of sociology, and we are happy to listen you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Lastly, another speaker we have from the abroad, Bharati Ramkurti Madam, lecturer, movement and physical education, Department, Mauritius Institute of Education, Mauritius. And sir has conveyed various away and aspects related to the pandemic and physical educations. Thank you very much, madam, for your point of views.
Okay.
Finally, I would like to thanks to all the members of the top staff, Mugberia Gangadhar Mahavidyalaya, the non-teaching staffs, the librarian, the students union, and of course, our beloved students. And also, without him, we can't complete the webinar, that is the participants around the West Bengal or around the USA, around the India. Thank you very much for being with us. Have a nice evening ahead. Thank you very much, sir.
Good.
Okay.
My sincere thanks to Professor Sheikh Khabiruddin for his deliberation in vote of thanks. Being head of the department, my special thanks to Professor Bhumi, as I am provoked by his lecture to study again. I have not stopped my study, but again I have provoked to study. At the very beginning of your lecture, sir, I could not understand whether it is a lecture for physical education or in the field of economics, because you have narrated the crisis. So, sir, my heartiest thanks to you, as I am provoked to study vigorously in future. Thank you very much, sir.
You are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. You are my student, dearest student, now colleague. We are here to just exchange our views like that.
Exactly, sir.
Thank you.
And also thanks to all three other speakers. Now this is the time to close this webinar. I would like to request our honorable principal, Dr. Sapon Kumar Mishra, sir, please close the webinar. Sir, please.
No, yes, sir. It's a good program. Today we are enlightened from the lectures from your various lecturers here. So I am our college and also our students and teachers are very enlightened in this various types of proposal and lectures in the post-pandemic situation. Now we give my thanks to all of you to attend this type of seminar, and from this very distance area, Mr. Sudarshan Bhomik also in also in where in what country, sir?
I am now at Bangalore. I am come back from USA.
Oh, such.
Yeah.
Mr. Bharati Putti also in another country, Mauritius. So we are very much interesting that you are attend this seminar. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So now close this. Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Very much. Thank you.